Imagine running into the one person who broke your heart 10 years ago right in front of your daughter. Annie thought she'd moved on, built a new life as a single mom. But some loves never really die. They just wait for the perfect Sunday afternoon to resurface and change everything. Before we dive into this emotional journey, please subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, and let me know in the comments where you're watching from. The swing creaked softly as I pushed Lily higher into the autumn sky. The swing creaked softly as I pushed Lily higher into the autumn sky. Her laughter echoed across the park, pure and infectious. "Hi, Mommy. I want to touch the clouds." I smiled, my hands steady on her small back. "Hold on tight, baby." This was our Sunday ritual. Just me and my 6-year-old daughter, stealing moments of joy between grocery runs and laundry piles. Being a single mom meant every minute counted. Lily's blonde curls caught the sunlight as she soared forward. She looked so much like me at that age, fearless, full of dreams. "Mommy, look, there's a lady with a dog." I glanced toward the oak trees where Lily was pointing. A woman in a navy coat was throwing a tennis ball for a golden retriever. Something about her posture made my chest tighten. "Can we pet the doggy?" Lily jumped off the swing before it stopped completely. "Careful, sweetheart." I caught her hand. We don't know if the woman turned around. My breath caught in my throat. Time stopped. Claire. 10 years melted away in an instant. Same dark hair, now shorter. Same green eyes that used to look at me like I was her whole world. Same smile that once promised forever. My heart hammered against my ribs. This couldn't be happening. "Mommy," Lily tugged my hand. "Are you okay?" I blinked hard, trying to focus. Claire hadn't seen us yet. She was laughing as her dog bounded back with the ball, completely unaware that her past was standing 50 feet away. "I'm fine, baby." My voice sounded strange, distant. Let's go to the playground." But I couldn't move, couldn't look away. Claire bent down to scratch behind her dog's ears, and I remembered how gentle her hands used to be, how they felt in my hair, on my face, tracing patterns on my skin during those late college nights when we thought we had all the time in the world. "The doggy is so pretty." Lily bounced on her toes. "Please, Mommy." Before I could stop her, Lily broke free from my grip and ran toward Claire. My stomach dropped. "Lily, wait." Claire looked up at the sound of my voice. Our eyes met across the distance. Her face went pale. The tennis ball slipped from her fingers and rolled away. I thought I'd buried this. Thought I'd moved on, built walls high enough to keep the past where it belonged. But seeing her again, God, it was like someone had ripped open an old wound. Lily reached Claire and immediately started petting the golden retriever, chattering away like she did with every stranger. I had no choice but to walk over. Each step felt like walking through quicksand. My hands were shaking. My mouth was dry. Claire stood slowly, never taking her eyes off me. "Annie." Her voice was barely a whisper. "Claire." The dog wagged its tail between us, oblivious to the tension crackling in the air. "This is my daughter, Lily." The words came out automatically like armor. Claire's gaze shifted to Lily, and something soft crossed her features. "She's beautiful. Say thank you, baby. Thank you." Lily beamed up at Claire. "What's your doggy's name?" "This is Max." Claire's voice was gentler now, the way it used to get when she talked to children. "He's very friendly." I watched Claire crouch down to Lily's level, and my chest ached. She'd always been good with kids. We used to talk about having them someday that never came. "How old are you, Lily?" Claire asked. 6. I just lost my first tooth, see?" Lily opened her mouth wide to show the gap. Claire laughed. That same laugh that used to make my knees weak. "Wow. Did the tooth fairy visit?" "Uh-huh. She left me $5 whole." I stood there frozen, watching the woman who'd once been my everything bond with my daughter. It felt surreal, like watching two parts of my life collide in slow motion. Claire glanced up at me, and for a moment I saw the girl I'd fallen in love with in college before everything went wrong, before she chose her career over us. "She's amazing, Annie." Her voice was thick with emotion. I swallowed hard. "Thank you." The silence stretched between us, heavy with 10 years of unspoken words. Lily, oblivious to the undercurrent, continued petting Max. "Mommy, can we get a doggy?" "We've talked about this, sweetheart. Our apartment is too small, but I would take such good care of it, I promise." Claire smiled. "Dogs are a big responsibility, but maybe when you're older." I bristled slightly. She had no right to make suggestions about my daughter's future. "We should go." I reached for Lily's hand. "Come on, baby." But Mommy, now Lily. Claire stood up, brushing dirt off her knees. Annie, wait. I turned back reluctantly. Could we talk just for a minute? My heart was racing. Every instinct told me to run to protect myself and Lily from whatever this conversation might bring. But looking at Claire's face, hopeful, nervous, vulnerable, I found myself nodding. Lily, why don't you go play on the monkey bars? Stay where I can see you. Okay, Mommy. She skipped away, already forgetting about the dog. Claire and I stood there in awkward silence, watching my daughter climb with fearless determination. She really is beautiful, Claire said softly. She has your eyes and her father's stubbornness. The words slipped out before I could stop them. Claire's expression flickered. You're married. Was divorced 2 years ago. I'm sorry. I shrugged, trying to appear casual. It happens. But inside I was screaming. Standing here with Claire, feeling my heart race the way it used to, I realized something terrifying. I'd never really gotten over her. You look good, Claire said, her voice careful, measured. I almost laughed. Good. I was wearing yesterday's jeans and a sweater with a small stain from Lily's breakfast. My hair was in a messy bun, and I hadn't worn makeup in weeks. Thanks. I crossed my arms, a defensive barrier. You too. She did look good. Better than good. Success suited her. I could see it in the way she carried herself, the expensive cut of her coat, the confidence that had always drawn me to her. I can't believe it's been 10 years, she said. 10 years? 3 months? The words escaped before I could stop them. Claire's eyes widened slightly. She remembered too. Mommy, watch this. Lily called from the monkey bars. I waved, grateful for the distraction. Be careful, baby. She's fearless, Claire observed. Gets it from her mother, and I immediately regretted the bitter edge in my voice. Claire flinched. Annie, I held up a hand. Just don't. We watched Lily swing from bar to bar, her little face scrunched in concentration. The autumn breeze rustled the leaves above us, and for a moment, I could pretend this was normal. Just 2 old friends catching up, but my hands were still shaking. I heard about your mom, Claire said quietly. I'm so sorry. My throat tightened. Mom had died 3 years ago, and I'd wondered if Claire knew, wondered if she'd thought about coming to the funeral. Thank you. She always liked me. She did. I swallowed hard. She asked about you sometimes. Claire's breath caught. What did you tell her? That you were living your dream. The silence that followed was deafening. Claire's dream had been everything to her. The job in New York. The prestigious law firm. The life she'd planned since freshman year. The life that didn't include me, Annie, Mommy. Lily's voice cut through the tension. She was hanging upside down from the monkey bars, her face red with exertion. Look at me. Lily rose. Get down from there right now. I rushed over, my heart in my throat. Claire followed, and together we helped Lily flip right side up. That was so fun. Lily giggled, completely unaware of how she'd just scared me. And dangerous, I scolded gently. What if I told you about showing off? That it's only fun until someone gets hurt, Lily recited dutifully. Exactly. I smoothed her hair. Why don't you go down the slide a few times? The safe way. Okay, Mommy. As Lily ran off, Claire shook her head in amazement. She's incredible. How do you do it? Do what? Raise her alone. Work. Take care of everything. I bristled. I managed just fine. I didn't mean. Claire ran a hand through her hair, a gesture I remembered from college when she was frustrated. I meant it as a compliment. You're amazing. Don't what? Don't act like you care about my life now. The words came out harsher than I intended, but I couldn't take them back. Claire stepped closer. I do care. I've always cared. Really? Because walking away without a word suggested otherwise. I didn't walk away without a word. I tried to explain. You tried to justify. I turned to face her fully, years of buried anger bubbling to the surface. There's a difference. Annie, please. Can we not do this here? I glanced at Lily, who was climbing the slide ladder, and forced myself to lower my voice. You're right. This isn't the place. Then where? When? There is no where or when. Claire, this is just a coincidence. A weird, unfortunate coincidence. Unfortunate? Her voice cracked slightly. I looked at her, really looked at her, and saw the hurt in her eyes. For a moment, I wavered. This was Claire, the woman who used to make me laugh until my stomach hurt, Who held me when I cried about my parents' divorce? Who made me believe in forever? Yes, I said quietly. Unfortunate. Claire's face fell, and I hated myself for putting that expression there. Mommy, come push me on the swings, Lily called. Coming, baby. I started to walk away, then stopped. It was good to see you, Claire. I hope you're happy. Annie. Wait. But I was already walking toward the swings, my heart pounding so hard I thought it might burst. Claire didn't follow. I helped Lily onto the swing and began pushing, trying to focus on my daughter's chatter about school and friends and the butterfly she'd seen earlier. But I could feel Claire watching us from across the playground. Mommy, why is the pretty lady looking at us? Lily asked. I glanced over. Claire was still standing by the monkey bars, her dog sitting patiently beside her. I don't know, sweetheart. Maybe she's lonely. Daddy used to look like that sometimes. My chest tightened. Lily was too perceptive for her own good. What do you mean? Sad. Like she lost something important. I stopped pushing the swing and knelt down to Lily's level. Baby, what do you remember about Daddy being sad? Lily shrugged. He used to stare out the window a lot, and he didn't laugh at my jokes anymore. My heart broke a little. I'd tried so hard to shield her from the worst of the divorce, but kids saw everything. Daddy wasn't sad because of you, I said firmly. Sometimes grown-ups just grow apart, like puzzle pieces that don't fit anymore. Exactly like that. Lily nodded solemnly, then brightened. Can we get ice cream? It's almost dinner time, please. Just a little one. I glanced toward the monkey bars. Claire was gone. Relief and disappointment warred in my chest. Okay, I said, but just a small one. As we walked toward the ice cream cart, Lily slipped her hand into mine. Mommy? Yes, baby. I love you. I love you too, sweetheart. More than all the stars in the sky. Even more than ice cream. I laughed. The first genuine laugh I'd had all day. Even more than ice cream. But as we stood in line, I couldn't shake the feeling that everything had just changed. That seeing Claire again had cracked something open inside me that I'd spent years trying to keep closed, and I had no idea what to do about it. The ice cream was melting faster than Lily could eat it. Slow down, baby, or you'll get a brain freeze. She giggled, vanilla dripping down her chin. Brain freeze is funny. I wiped her face with a napkin, trying to focus on this simple moment instead of the chaos in my head. But my eyes kept drifting to the spot where Claire had been standing. Mommy, you're not eating yours. I looked down at my untouched strawberry cone. You're right. Silly me. I took a bite, but it tasted like cardboard. Everything felt off-kilter, like the world had tilted slightly, and I couldn't find my balance. Can we sit on the bench? Lily asked. My legs are tired. We settled onto a wooden bench overlooking the pond. Ducks glided across the water, and Lily immediately started planning how to convince me to bring bread next time. I wasn't really listening. My mind kept replaying every second of the encounter with Claire. The way her face had gone pale when she saw me. The careful distance she'd maintained. The hurt in her eyes when I called our meeting unfortunate. Mommy, you're doing that thing again. What thing? The staring thing, like when you're thinking really hard about grown-up stuff. I forced a smile. Sorry, sweetheart. What were you saying about the ducks? But before Lily could answer, I heard a familiar voice behind us. Excuse me, is this seat taken? My heart stopped. I turned around slowly. Claire stood there with Max on a leash, gesturing to the other end of our bench. She'd changed into jeans and a soft gray sweater, looking more like the college girl I remembered. Claire. Her name came out as barely a whisper. I was hoping I might run into you again. She looked nervous, uncertain. Would it be okay if we sat here? Max loves watching the ducks. Lily perked up immediately. Yes, Max can sit with us. I wanted to say no, wanted to grab Lily and run, but my daughter was already scooting over to make room, and Claire was settling onto the bench with careful distance between us. Thank you, Claire said softly. Max immediately lay down at Lily's feet, and she squealed with delight. He likes me. He has good taste, Claire said, and I caught the double meaning in her words. We sat in awkward silence, watching the ducks. Lily chattered to Max, completely oblivious to the tension crackling between the adults. I owe you an apology, Claire said finally. You don't owe me anything. Yes, I do. She turned to face me, and I was struck by how tired she looked up close. What I said earlier about you being amazing. I didn't mean to sound patronizing. It's fine. No, it's not. I have no right to comment on your life. I gave up that right a long time ago. The honesty in her voice caught me off guard. This wasn't the confident, driven Claire who'd left me behind. This was someone who'd learned what loss felt like. Why are you here? I asked quietly. In the park? In town? You live in New York? Claire was quiet for a long moment. I'm visiting my dad. He had a heart attack last month. My chest tightened. Is he okay? He's recovering, stubborn as ever, refusing to slow down. She managed a small smile. You remember how he was? I did remember. Claire's father had always been larger than life. The kind of man who filled every room he entered. He'd liked me, I think. Had always asked about my classes when I visited their house. I'm sorry. That must be scary. It was. Still is. Claire's voice was soft. It made me realize how much time I've wasted. Wasted how she looked at me, then really looked at me, and I saw something raw and vulnerable in her expression. Thinking I could outrun my past. Thinking success would fill the holes I'd created. My breath caught. Claire, Mommy, look. Lily jumped up suddenly, pointing at the pond. The ducks are dancing. We watched as two mallards performed what looked like an elaborate courtship ritual, circling each other in the water. They're not dancing, baby. They're showing each other they care. Like when you and Daddy used to slow dance in the kitchen. My cheeks burned. I'd forgotten Lily remembered those early, happier days of my marriage. Something like that. Claire was watching me with an unreadable expression. You were happy, she said quietly. For a while. What happened? I glanced at Lily, who was now trying to teach Max to shake hands. We wanted different things. He wanted me to be someone I wasn't. And you? I wanted him to love who I actually was. The words hung between us, heavy with implication. Claire had always loved who I actually was, until her ambition became more important than us. I was an idiot, Claire said suddenly. Claire, don't. No. Let me say this. I was 22 and terrified and so focused on proving myself that I threw away the best thing that ever happened to me. My heart was racing. You don't get to do this. Do what? Show up after 10 years and rewrite history. You made your choice. I made a mistake. A mistake? I stood up abruptly, anger flaring. A mistake is forgetting to call. A mistake is being late for dinner. Walking away from someone who loved you with everything she had. That's not a mistake, Claire. That's a choice. Lily looked up, alarmed by my raised voice. Mommy. I immediately softened, kneeling down to her level. It's okay, baby. Mommy's just talking to her friend. Are you fighting? No, sweetheart. Sometimes grown-ups just have big feelings about things. Lily nodded solemnly, then turned to Claire. My mommy has the biggest heart in the whole world. That's why she gets big feelings. Claire's eyes filled with tears. She's right. Your mommy does have the biggest heart. I stood up slowly, my anger deflating. Lily had a way of cutting through adult complications with startling clarity. We should go, I said quietly. It's getting late. Of course. Claire stood too, gathering Max's leash. Annie. I turned back reluctantly. Would it be okay if I gave you my number? In case you ever want to talk. Every rational part of my brain screamed, no. But looking at Claire's hopeful, nervous expression, I found myself nodding. She quickly scribbled her number on a piece of paper from her wallet. No pressure. I'd like the chance to explain properly. I took the paper, our fingers brushing briefly. The contact sent electricity up my arm. Come on, Lily. Time to go home. Bye, Max. Bye, pretty lady. Claire smiled through her tears. Bye, Lily. It was wonderful meeting you. As we walked away, Lily slipped her hand into mine. Mommy. Yes, baby. The pretty lady made you sad. I stopped walking. What makes you say that? Your eyes got all shiny, like when you watch the movies that make you cry. I knelt down and pulled her into a hug, breathing in her sweet, innocent scent. Sometimes seeing old friends brings up lots of feelings, sweetheart. Happy and sad all mixed together. Like when I found my old teddy bear in the closet. Exactly like that. As we continued toward the car, I clutched Claire's number in my pocket. And for the first time in 10 years, I wondered if some doors were meant to be opened again. That night, after Lily was asleep, I sat at my kitchen table staring at Claire's phone number. The paper was wrinkled from being clutched in my pocket all evening. I'd smoothed it out at least a dozen times, memorizing the careful loops of her handwriting. My phone sat next to the paper, silent and accusatory. I'd almost called 3 times, had even dialed the number once before, hanging up after the first ring. What would I even say? "Hi, it's Annie, the woman whose heart you shattered. Want to grab coffee and pretend the last 10 years didn't happen?" I poured myself a glass of wine and tried to focus on the stack of bills that needed paying. Single mom life didn't pause for emotional crises, but my mind kept drifting back to the park. To the way Claire had looked at Lily with such genuine warmth, to the pain in her voice when she called herself an idiot, to the way my heart had raced when our fingers touched. My phone buzzed with a text from my sister Sarah. "How was the park? Did Lily wear herself out?" I stared at the message, debating whether to tell her about Claire. Sarah had been there through the worst of it 10 years ago. She'd held me while I cried for weeks, had threatened to drive to New York and have words with Claire. Instead, I typed back, "Good day. She's exhausted." Another lie to add to the collection I'd been building since this afternoon. I was reaching for my wine when my phone rang. Unknown number. My heart stopped. It was Claire's number. I'd memorized it. I let it ring 4 times before answering. "Hello, Annie. It's Claire. I hope it's not too late to call." Her voice was soft, uncertain. I could hear traffic in the background. "It's fine. Lily's asleep." "Good. I mean, good that she's sleeping, not good that I'm bothering you." Despite everything, I almost smiled. Claire had always rambled when she was nervous. "You're not bothering me." I couldn't stop thinking about today, about what you said. I closed my eyes. "Claire, you were right. I did make a choice, and I've regretted it every day for 10 years. The honesty in her voice made my chest ache. "Don't do this." "Do what?" "Make me hope for something that can't happen." "Why can't it happen?" I laughed, but there was no humor in it. "Because I'm not 22 anymore, Claire. I have responsibilities, a daughter who depends on me. I can't just drop everything and follow my heart like I used to." "I'm not asking you to drop everything." "Then what are you asking?" Silence stretched between us. I could hear her breathing, could picture her running her hand through her hair the way she used to when she was trying to find the right words. "I'm asking for a chance to show you that I'm not the same person who walked away. People don't change that much, don't they? You did. You became a mother. You built a life, survived a divorce, raised an incredible little girl on your own. That takes strength I'm not sure I have." I was quiet, processing her words. "Annie, are you still there?" "I'm here. I know I have no right to ask this, but would you consider having coffee with me? Just coffee. No pressure, no expectations. I need you to know why I left." "Really?" "No." I thought about Lily's innocent question earlier. Why is the pretty lady looking at us? About her observation that Claire looked lonely, like she'd lost something important. I don't know if that's a good idea. Please, one conversation. If after that you never want to see me again, I'll respect that." I could hear the desperation in her voice, carefully controlled but unmistakable. "Where?" "Anywhere you want. Somewhere you feel comfortable." I thought for a moment. "There's a coffee shop on Main Street. Brewers. Do you know it? I'll find it tomorrow. 10 a.m. I can only stay an hour. I have to pick up Lily from my neighbors." "Thank you, Annie." "Really?" "Thank you." After we hung up, I sat in my kitchen for a long time, staring at nothing. What was I doing? Why was I opening this door again? But even as I questioned my decision, I knew I had to hear what Claire had to say for my own peace of mind, if nothing else. I needed to understand why the woman who'd once promised me forever had chosen a job over our love. The next morning, I dropped Lily off at Mrs. Henderson's apartment down the hall. She was a retired teacher who loved having Lily visit, and Lily adored her stories and homemade cookies. "I'll be back in an hour, baby." "Okay, Mommy. Mrs. Henderson is going to teach me how to knit." I kissed her forehead and tried to ignore the nervous flutter in my stomach. Brewers was busy with the Sunday morning crowd. I arrived 5 minutes early and chose a table in the back corner, somewhere we could talk without being overheard. I ordered a latte and checked my phone obsessively, second-guessing my decision with each passing minute. At exactly 10 a.m., Claire walked through the door. She'd dressed carefully, dark jeans, a soft blue sweater that brought out her eyes, minimal makeup. She looked beautiful and nervous and achingly familiar. Our eyes met across the crowded cafe, and for a moment, I was 22 again, waiting for my girlfriend to join me for study sessions that always turned into long conversations about our dreams. Claire ordered at the counter, then made her way over to my table. "Hi," she said softly. "Hi." She sat down across from me, and I noticed her hands were shaking slightly as she wrapped them around her coffee cup. "Thank you for coming." I almost didn't. "What changed your mind?" I considered lying, giving her some safe, surface answer. But something about the vulnerability in her expression made me choose honesty. "Lily asked me why you looked sad yesterday. She said you reminded her of her father when he was unhappy." Claire's face crumpled slightly. "Smart kid. Too smart sometimes." We sat in awkward silence for a moment, the weight of 10 years pressing down on us. "So?" I said finally. "Talk." Claire took a shaky breath. "I don't know where to start." "Start with why you left." She nodded, staring down at her coffee. "I was scared." "Of what?" "Of not being enough. Of failing. Of proving my father right." I frowned. "Your father loved you. He loved the idea of me. The successful daughter who would make the family proud. But he never thought I was strong enough to make it in a competitive field like law. So you had to prove him wrong. I had to prove myself right." She looked up at me then. "I was so afraid that if I stayed, if I chose love over ambition, I'd end up resenting you, resenting us. So instead, you made me resent you." Yes, the word came out as barely a whisper. And I've hated myself for it every day since. I stared at her, processing this revelation. "You could have talked to me about it. We could have figured it out together." I tried. "Remember that night before graduation when I brought up the job offer?" I did remember. We'd fought about it for hours. I'd begged her to consider other options, to look for opportunities closer to home. "You said I was being selfish." Claire continued that I was asking you to give up your dreams for mine because you were... I know, but I was also 22 and terrified and convinced that if I didn't take that job, I'd never get another chance. And now Claire was quiet for a long moment. Now I know that some chances are worth more than others. Before I could respond, my phone buzzed with a text from Mrs. Henderson. "Lily's asking when you'll be back. She's excited to show you her knitting." I showed Claire the message. "I have to go." "Of course." She started to stand, then hesitated. "Annie, could we do this again? There's so much more I want to tell you." I looked at her face, saw the hope and fear wearing in her expression. "I don't know, Claire. This is complicated. I know. But maybe complicated doesn't have to mean impossible." As I walked back to my car, her words echoed in my mind. Maybe complicated doesn't have to mean impossible. But as I thought about Lily's innocent questions and trusting smile, I wondered if some complications were too dangerous to risk. I couldn't sleep that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Claire's face across that coffee table. The raw honesty in her voice when she'd admitted to being scared. The way she'd looked when I'd walked away without giving her an answer. At 2 a.m., I gave up and padded to the kitchen in my pajamas. I made chamomile tea and sat at the table, staring out the window at the empty street. What was I doing? Why was I even considering letting Claire back into my life? I'd worked so hard to build something stable for Lily and me. We had routines, security, peace. Opening that door to Claire again felt like inviting chaos, but God. The way my heart had raced when she'd said some chances are worth more than others. My phone sat on the counter, silent, but somehow accusatory. Claire had texted earlier. "Thank you for today. Sleep well." I hadn't responded. The next morning, Lily was unusually quiet over breakfast. "You okay, baby?" She poked at her cereal with her spoon. "Are you sad, Mommy?" "Why would you think I'm sad? You keep staring at nothing, and you made coffee, but you're not drinking it." I looked down at my untouched mug, surprised. I hadn't even realized. "I'm just thinking about grown-up stuff, about the pretty lady." My heart skipped. "What makes you say that?" "Because you got that same look after we saw her, like when you watch the sad parts of movies." I knelt down beside her chair. "Sweetheart, sometimes when grown-ups see old friends, it brings up lots of feelings. That doesn't mean anything bad is going to happen. Promise? I promise." But even as I said it, I wasn't sure I believed it. That afternoon, while Lily was at school, I found myself driving past the park where we'd met Claire. I didn't stop, just drove slowly past the playground where everything had changed. My phone rang as I was pulling into my driveway. "Annie, it's Claire." My heart jumped. Hi. I hope it's okay that I'm calling. I know you said you needed time to think. It's fine. I was wondering, would it be okay if I sent something to Lily? Nothing big, just a small gift. She was so sweet with Max yesterday. The request caught me off guard. Claire, I don't think. Please, I know I have no right to ask, but she reminded me so much of you at that age. Fearless and curious and kind. You don't know anything about my daughter. The words came out harsher than I intended, but I couldn't take them back. Claire was quiet for a moment. You're right. I don't, but I'd like to if you'd let me. Why? Because she's part of you and you're still the most important person I've ever known. My breath caught. Claire, don't. It's true. I've spent 10 years trying to convince myself otherwise, but seeing you again, God, Annie, I never stopped loving you. The words hit me like a physical blow. I pulled over to the side of the road, my hands shaking. You don't get to say that. Why not? Because I can't handle it. The words exploded out of me. Because I spent 2 years in therapy learning how to stop loving you. Because I have a daughter who needs me to be stable and strong. And you showing up again is threatening everything I've built. I was crying now. Ugly sobs that I couldn't control. Annie, please. No. You left, Claire. You chose your career over us, and I had to pick up the pieces. I had to learn how to live without you. And it nearly killed me. I know. I'm so sorry. Sorry doesn't fix anything. Sorry doesn't give me back the 2 years I spent barely functioning. Sorry doesn't explain why I married someone I didn't really love because I was so desperate to feel something other than the hole you left behind. The silence on the other end of the line was deafening. Annie. Claire's voice was thick with tears. I didn't know. Of course you didn't know. You were busy building your perfect life in New York. It wasn't perfect. It was empty. That was your choice. I know. And I've regretted it every single day. I wiped my eyes trying to pull myself together. I have to go. Lily will be home soon. Wait. Please. Can we talk about this in person? I need you to see. See what? How sorry you are? How much you've changed? It doesn't matter, Claire. Some things can't be fixed. Do you really believe that? I thought about Lily's innocent questions, about the life we'd built together, about the careful balance I'd created to keep us both safe and happy. Yes, I whispered. I do. I hung up before she could respond. That evening, Lily and I had dinner in unusual quiet. She kept glancing at me with worried eyes, and I knew I was doing a terrible job of hiding my emotional turmoil. Mommy, can I ask you something? Of course, baby. Do you miss Daddy? The question surprised me. Lily rarely asked about her father anymore. Sometimes I miss the good parts. Why? Because you look like you're missing someone, but sadder than when you miss Daddy. My heart clenched. How could a 6-year-old be so perceptive? Sometimes grown-ups have to say goodbye to people they care about even when they don't want to. Like when Grandma went to heaven. Sort of like that. Lily nodded solemnly. Is the pretty lady going away? I stared at my daughter, this wise little person who saw everything. I think so, sweetheart. That's sad. Why do you say that? Because she looked at you like Daddy used to look at his guitar. Like you were the most beautiful thing in the world. I excused myself to the bathroom and cried until there were no tears left. Later that night, after Lily was asleep, I sat on my couch with a glass of wine and stared at my phone. Claire had sent one text. I understand. I'm sorry for everything. I typed and deleted a dozen responses. Part of me wanted to call her back to take back everything I'd said. But the rational part of my brain, the part that had learned to protect my heart, knew I'd made the right choice. Some doors were meant to stay closed. Some loves were too dangerous to risk, even if walking away felt like dying all over again. 3 days passed without any contact from Claire. I should have felt relieved. Instead, I felt hollow, like I was walking through my life in slow motion. Lily noticed, of course. She'd started leaving little drawings on my pillow, stick figures of us holding hands under rainbow skies with messages like, I love you, Mommy, in her careful 6-year-old handwriting. On Thursday afternoon, Mrs. Henderson knocked on my door. Annie, dear, there's a package for Lily. The delivery man said it was from a Claire Morrison. My heart stopped. I took the small wrapped box with trembling hands. Thank you, Mrs. Henderson. Everything all right, dear? You look pale. I'm fine, just tired. But I wasn't fine. I was staring at Claire's familiar handwriting on the package label, and my carefully constructed walls were crumbling. When Lily got home from school, she spotted the package immediately. Is that for me? I hesitated. Every instinct told me to hide it, to protect us both from whatever this represented. But looking at Lily's excited face, I couldn't bring myself to lie. Yes, baby. It's from the lady we met at the park, the pretty lady with the doggy. Really? She tore into the wrapping paper with the enthusiasm only children possess. Inside was a small, stuffed golden retriever that looked exactly like Max, along with a note. Mommy read it to me. I unfolded the paper with shaking hands. Dear Lily, thank you for being so kind to Max and me at the park. You have the biggest, brightest smile, just like your mommy. I thought you might like to have your own puppy to take care of until you're old enough for a real one. Love, Claire. P.S. His name is Buddy, but you can call him whatever you want. Lily clutched the stuffed dog to her chest. He's perfect. Can I call him Max Jr.? Of course, sweetheart. Mommy, why are you crying? I wiped my eyes quickly. Happy tears, baby. Sometimes people do such nice things that it makes us cry happy tears. That night, after Lily fell asleep with Max Jr., tucked under her arm, I found myself dialing Claire's number. She answered on the first ring. Annie, thank you for the gift. Lily loves it. I'm glad. Her voice was soft, careful. I wasn't sure if you'd let her keep it. I thought about not letting her, but seeing how happy it made her, I overstepped. I'm sorry. No, you didn't. It was thoughtful. She's been carrying it everywhere. Silence stretched between us. Annie, I need to tell you something. What? I'm leaving tomorrow. Going back to New York. My chest tightened. Oh, my dad's doing better and I have to get back to work. But before I go, could I see you one more time, please? I closed my eyes. Claire, I know what you said the other day. I know you think some things can't be fixed, but I need you to know something before I leave. What? I quit my job. The words hit me like a physical blow. What? 2 weeks ago, before I came here, I gave my notice and walked away from everything I thought I wanted. Why? Because I finally realized that success means nothing if you're empty inside. Because I've been sleepwalking through my life for 10 years, and seeing my dad in that hospital bed made me understand that time isn't infinite. I was quiet, processing this revelation. I'm not asking you to take me back, Claire continued. I know I don't deserve that, but I needed you to know that I'm not the same person who chose ambition over love. I'm not asking you to risk anything. I need you to know that you were right. Some chances are worth more than others, and I threw away the most important chance I'll ever have. Tears were streaming down my face. Claire, I'm staying at the Marriott downtown, room 412. If you want to talk, I'll be there until my flight tomorrow at noon. If not, I understand. I'll never bother you again. She hung up before I could respond. I sat in my dark living room for hours, staring at my phone. Claire had quit her job, the job that had been everything to her, the dream she'd chosen over us. What did that mean? What was she planning to do? And why did part of me want to run to that hotel room and throw myself into her arms? At 6 a.m., I called my sister Sarah. Annie, what's wrong? It's barely dawn. I need you to watch Lily today. Of course. What's going on? I told her everything about seeing Claire at the park, about the coffee, about the phone calls, and the gift, and Claire's revelation about quitting her job. Sarah was quiet for a long moment. Holy Annie. Language. Sorry, but holy, she quit her job. That's what she said. What are you going to do? I don't know. Part of me wants to see her, but part of me thinks I should just let her leave. What does your heart say? My heart is an idiot. My heart got me into this mess in the first place. Sarah laughed softly. Your heart also gave you Lily. And your heart is what makes you the most loving person I know. Sarah, go see her, Annie. You'll regret it if you't. What if she breaks my heart again? What if she doesn't? After I hung up, I stood in my bathroom mirror for a long time, staring at my reflection. I looked tired, older, but there was something in my eyes I hadn't seen in years. Hope. Dangerous, terrifying hope. I dropped Lily off at Sarah's with a promise to explain everything later, then drove to the Marriott with my heart pounding. The elevator ride to the 4th floor felt like it took forever. I stood outside room 412 for 5 minutes, gathering courage. Finally, I knocked. Claire opened the door immediately, like she'd been waiting by it. She was in jeans and a t-shirt, her hair messy, her eyes red from crying. You came, she whispered. I came. We stared at each other across the threshold. Can I come in? Of course. The hotel room was sparse, impersonal. Claire's suitcase sat open on the bed, half packed. So, I said, my voice shaky. You really quit your job. I really did. What are you going to do? Claire sat on the edge of the bed, and I took the chair by the window. I don't know yet. I have some money saved. I thought maybe I'd figure it out as I go. That's not like you. You always had a plan. Plans are overrated. She looked at me with those green eyes that had haunted my dreams for 10 years. I spent so long planning my life that I forgot to live it. Claire, I know this doesn't change anything between us. I know I hurt you too badly for that, but I needed you to know that I learned from my mistakes, that losing you taught me what really matters. I was quiet, studying her face. What if it could change things? I asked softly, her breath caught. What? What if? What if we could start over? Not pick up where we left off, but start fresh. Annie, are you saying I'm terrified? I'm saying this could be the biggest mistake of my life. But I'm also saying that seeing you again made me realize I never really moved on. I just learned to live with the hole you left behind. Claire's eyes filled with tears. What about Lily? Lily likes you? She's been sleeping with that stuffed dog every night. And you? What do you want? I looked at this woman who'd broken my heart and somehow still owned pieces of it. I want to try, I whispered. I want to see if we can build something new together. Claire crossed the room in 3 steps and pulled me into her arms. And for the first time in 10 years, I felt like I was home. 6 months later, I was pushing Lily on the same swing where this all began. Hi, Mommy. Hold on tight, baby. Claire sat on the bench nearby, Max at her feet, watching us with a smile that made my heart flutter every time I saw it. She'd moved back to town 3 weeks after our reunion at the hotel, found a small apartment across town and started working at a local family law practice, helping people navigate divorces and custody battles. It's not glamorous, she told me, but it matters. I'm actually helping people instead of just making rich companies richer. We'd taken things slowly. Coffee dates while Lily was at school, dinners at my apartment where Claire would help with homework and listen to Lily's endless stories about her day. The first time Lily had asked if Claire was my girlfriend, I'd nearly choked on my coffee. She's my special friend, I'd said. Like how Tommy's mom has a special friend named Janet, something like that. Cool. Can she come to my school play? It had been that simple for Lily. Adults were the ones who complicated love. Mommy, can we go see the ducks now? Of course, sweetheart. We walked to the pond, Lily skipping ahead with Max Jr. tucked under her arm. She'd insisted on bringing the stuffed dog to the park every Sunday, our new tradition. Claire fell into step beside me, our hands brushing as we walked. Penny, for your thoughts, she said, just thinking about how different everything is now. Good, different, or scary different, both. Claire stopped walking and turned to face me. Annie, are you having second thoughts? No. I reached for her hand. No, not at all. I'm just amazed, I guess. 6 months ago, I thought I had my life figured out. Thought I knew exactly what my future looked like. And now I'm learning that the best things happen when you stop trying to control everything. Claire smiled and squeezed my hand. I love you. She'd said it for the first time 2 months ago, and it still made my breath catch. I love you too, Mommy. Claire, come look at the baby ducks. We hurried over to where Lily was crouched by the water's edge, pointing excitedly at a family of mallards. There's the mama and the daddy. And look, tiny babies. They're called ducklings, Claire said, kneeling beside her. Ducklings, Lily repeated carefully. They're so fluffy. I watched Claire explain how the mother duck was teaching her babies to swim, her voice patient and warm. She was a natural with Lily, never talking down to her or dismissing her questions. Claire, Lily looked up with serious 6-year-old eyes. Yes, sweetheart. Are you going to marry my mommy? I felt my cheeks burn. Lily, what? I'm just asking. Claire glanced at me, then back at Lily. Would you like that? Uh-huh. Then you could live with us all the time, and Max could come over every day. Well, Claire said carefully, that would be up to your mommy. Lily turned to me with hopeful eyes. Mommy. I looked at these 2 people who'd become my whole world and felt something settle into place in my chest. Maybe someday, baby, when the time is right. When will the time be right? Claire laughed. When your mommy is ready. Are you ready now, Mommy? I met Claire's eyes over Lily's head and saw my own feelings reflected there. Love, hope, and the quiet certainty that we'd found our way back to each other for a reason. Getting closer every day, I said softly. That evening, after Lily was asleep, Claire and I sat on my couch with glasses of wine, her head on my shoulder. She's going to keep asking about marriage, you know, Claire said. I know. How do you feel about that? I was quiet for a moment, thinking, terrified, honestly, and overwhelmed by it all, but also excited. Claire lifted her head to look at me. Really? Really? 6 months ago, I couldn't imagine trusting anyone with my heart again. But you've shown me every day that you're not the same person who left. I'm not. And I never will be again. I know. I traced patterns on her arm. I've been thinking about what you said that day at the coffee shop about some chances being worth more than others. What about it? I think maybe some chances are worth taking twice. Claire's eyes filled with tears. Annie, I'm not saying tomorrow, but someday. Yes. I want to marry you. I want Lily to have the family she's been asking for. I want us to build something beautiful together. Claire kissed me then, soft and sweet and full of promise. I want that too, she whispered against my lips. More than anything, we held each other in the quiet of my living room, and I thought about how far we'd both come. How love sometimes meant letting go and sometimes meant holding on tight. How the best stories weren't about perfect people, but about broken people who chose to heal together. The next morning, Lily bounded into the kitchen where Claire was making pancakes. Are you staying for breakfast again? If that's okay with you, it's more than okay. It's perfect. Lily climbed onto her chair and grinned at both of us. This feels like a real family. Claire and I exchanged a look over her head. It does, doesn't it? I said. The best kind, Claire agreed. As we sat around my small kitchen table, sharing pancakes and orange juice and easy laughter, I realized something profound. Sometimes the love you think you've lost forever is just waiting for the right moment to come home. Sometimes second chances are really first chances in disguise. And sometimes the most beautiful stories begin with the simple words, "Why are you crying, Mommy?" Because those tears weren't just about sadness. They were about recognition, about a heart remembering what it felt like to be whole. 3 years later, Claire and I were married in the same park where we'd found each other again. Lily was our flower girl, scattering rose petals with Max trotting beside her. In my vows, I talked about second chances and the courage to love again, in hers. Claire promised to choose us every day for the rest of her life. And when the minister pronounced us married, Lily cheered louder than anyone. Now we're a real family, she announced to the gathered crowd. But the truth was, we'd been a real family from the moment we decided to try again. Love, I learned, isn't about perfect timing or flawless people. It's about showing up. It's about choosing each other again and again, even when it's scary. It's about believing that some stories deserve a second chapter, and ours was just beginning. Thank you for joining Annie, Claire, and Lily on their journey back to love. If this story touched your heart, please subscribe to the channel for more emotional mini-series. Give this video a thumbs up and share your own second chance love stories in the comments below. Sometimes the most beautiful endings are really new beginnings in disguise.